Welcome everyone. You're listening to iTalk 106.7 FM, the voice of the mountain. I'm your host, Janine Ford. So glad you're rolling with us this afternoon. I have engineer Matt here with the Green Peaks. What is it, Matt?
Greens Peak Users Association.
Greens Peak Users Association. And Matt's an engineer, been there, done that all over the place in engineering, and he's
built a lot of radio stations in my day.
Built a lot of radio stations. He knows all the parts that we have here at the radio station. I'm clueless. I just know which buttons I'm supposed to push. So engineer Matt, 25 years of experience designing, deploying, maintaining all sorts of radio stations, TV stations, you name it, he can handle it. So he's up on Greens Peak. How many times did you guess that you've been up on top of Greens Peak?
Oh God, if I were to guess, every time I'd be a millionaire. Too many times.
Too many times.
It's a beautiful place though.
It's gorgeous. How about in the winter if we have a lot of snow?
We have a cool little tool called a snowcat. So we take the snowcat up to the mountain, and it's a little slow, but you know, it's a nice slow drive. You take things in, you're able to see the trees, and an occasional bear or some wildlife comes pouncing around wondering, what are you doing up here?
Yeah, exactly. That's neat. You've probably seen a lot of things. Okay, so in communications, and you're in communications, you're in to talk today about some concerns you have over basically these gigantic wind turbines. Are you concerned about them?
I think, there is a concern. A lot of these, I'm going to refer to them as NGOs, that pay for these studies. And obviously, in my opinion, speaking for myself, I find these studies very, very biased. Do they have grains of truth in them? Yes, they do. But there's a lot of aspects of these studies that they say, look over here, but don't look over here. Uh-huh. There's little subtle things, like, for example, can radio waves be affected by these wind turbines? Yes, under what we would say microwaves would be affected in the near field. And when I say near field, I'm talking about, say, 1 mile to 3 miles from a wind turbine. Outside of that, VHF and UHF frequencies tend to not be bothered. But the best analogy I can think of, when you're up close and you have these wind turbines going around, these have got metal in them. They've got, carbon fiber, they have metal particulates and things like that. And they do bounce radio waves. They will deflect them and create what we call in radio multipath. So you have if I can describe it as, think about it like a mirror. So you have a wind turbine, but these are like mirrors. So and you're trying to receive an image. So when you're in the what we call the near field, that image gets distorted. So that would manifest itself in now modern digital radio systems used by police and fire as digital delay, digital distortion delay. So the policeman or the fireman's digital radio, even ham radios, will get what we call robotic sounding. The audio will be distorted to the point where in some cases it's very hard to make out what the other party is receiving. Now an analog is a little bit more forgiving. It would just manifest itself as noise. So on an analog radio. Digital radio is going to be different. So we call it time delay interference. So without getting down a rabbit hole of engineering stuff, there is a noticeable effect in the near field. But again, out further from the wind turbines, you don't really see this. But what is really affected is microwave paths. Off of Greens Peak, there's a few users up on Greens Peak that do have microwave paths that do go through the project area. Those microwave paths, yes, those could be mitigated. We just won't put a turbine over here, and it's so they can mitigate it. But microwaves are very much affected by these rotating metallic reflectors.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So who should be most concerned? Would it be mostly fire and police, or to be watching these? And as they're putting the wind turbines, do you know who, like the project managers, the people that are building these, are they getting in touch with engineers locally like yourself? And are they saying,
we have not been contacted.
Not been contacted at all, yeah. And so there's a lot of, are there other engineers, do you know, that are concerned a little bit about some of these or asking questions? And some of these are going to be the tallest, they're saying, that they've had. That like our area, it's supposed to be 780 feet, and then the blades reach higher. And a lot of them are saying that, there's going to be a learning curve. Oh, okay. So, yeah.
And that's the reason why we really need to demand baseline study. I'm not saying don't go with it. I think they're ugly. I think technology with small-scale nuclear, that makes more sense.
Yes.
But looking at this unbiasedly, we should really have a true unbiased engineering consulting firm come in and do an evaluation across all frequency bands.
Maybe they include some local engineers and include them in the talk, because I notice these NGOs and things, they hire, like you say, these specific, they're paying for it.
Yeah.
And then the results look a lot like they paid for it.
Well, yeah. I mean, a perfect example is there was a company that begins with an M and ends with an A, and was involved with the creation of cellular phones, and they paid for a medical study. And they didn't want the C word used in the same sentences as cell phone. And a lot of that medical research was squelched. Nothing to see. Again, nothing to see here.
Yeah. So that's what we hear a lot of, until we can't reach out to each other. So maybe police and fire could say, hey guys, let's make sure that our stuff is going to be heard and we're not going to be distorted. Maybe some groups like that could reach out and say, we need to make sure that we're okay.
I think police and public safety should have a place at the table. And again, from my background, we do see an effect in the near field.
And when you say near field, close to the wind turbines, right? So if you're close to the turbines, so if we have a ton of turbines up here, we could have a lot of near field
You'll
issues.
have a lot of multipath created. So that's, again, think about it as a signal emitting off of Greens Peak or Sierra Montosa, hitting these blades and being reflected in multiple different directions.
Having them bouncing all over the place. And with the projects, approximately, we heard from the government representative for real estate, they're saying that this is basically proposed to be the largest wind turbine and solar farms in the region, in our area. And as many as, we're counting on some of the things, trying to do the math, about 8,500 wind turbines more going in. And that's a lot, So that near field could be a pretty big near field, right?
Yes. Yeah. And the further you get away, the less, at VHF and UHF frequencies, it's less noticeable. But again, the near field, if there's a deputy that's out in that area, that's within very likely his or her communications can be affected.
Right. So if somebody's running down Interstate 40, but there's a bunch of wind turbines between he and Greens Peak, that could be affected too, right?
Not to the scale
as being right in the.
You really need turbines. To be on, again, within that 1.5, 3 mile, even maybe 4 mile
of the wind turbine. Okay.
But what really is affected is AM broadcast facilities. Thing is, where there's really I think there's one station out in Springerville, just an AM radio station out there.
We have an AM, and so does White Mountain Radio too. Yeah, okay. We each have AMs, and ours is in Springerville, I believe. Yeah.
And so that would cause the tower, the wind tower, to an AM signal would be a parasitic effect. So it would act as a parasitic antenna. In other words, when an AM station, a multi-tower AM station, they have things called patterns. And these patterns are directed in time of day, daytime pattern, nighttime pattern. And what they do is that they detune say if you have a 6-tower array, you'll detune maybe 2 of the towers to create the pattern that you want. Well, if you have all these wind turbines out there, that's going to create one heck of a pattern. It's going to distort the pattern to the point where that AM broadcaster would be in violation with the FCC because their signal is not going where it's intended to go.
Oh,
so it causes problems. But
okay.
unless there's, we have like KTNN, the Navajo Nation station. That's
Right.
a ways away. But if you had something like KTNN, that would really affect them, because I believe they're only a 2-tower array out there. And if you put that in you start popping up wind turbines, that's going to significantly hamper their signal.
Right. And I believe there's an AM station right in Holbrook. It's right near a lot of these that are going in, so that could be interesting too. But there's that's the thing, is that all of these providers, these different radio stations, all of them really need to take a close look. And right now, guys, these are all in play. And I know I've been talking to, there's another layer, is that fire officials, for instance, you look at some of this. There's a lot of this that everybody's asking questions about. Gosh, we have no fire suppression for these. We have no hazmat suppression. We have nothing to fight any fires that these cause, especially like if there's a lithium battery fire. There's nobody to fight it, and and in Texas they are told, let it burn. And we're in wildfire, area. So there's a lot of problems. And, now you personally, are you worried about this?
Yeah, more so. I mean, out there, it's a lot of scrubland. I think the fire, I don't know, I'm not a fireman. I don't know about anything about fire mitigation, other than, don't burn the forest down when we're on greens. But, I'm not. I do know that I have seen friends of mine, other engineers, send me, we send these memes back and forth of wind turbines that have caught on fire, that have collapsed, and this is green energy. Yeah, don't know about that.
It's not green.
No, it's anything but.
That's I know, I love that. I've said that too. It's anything but green, especially when you're looking at the 4,000 to 5,000 tons of rusting rebar steel and junk that's left in the ground for time and all eternity. It's just sad. Well,
I know this doesn't have anything really to do, with the radio side, but communications. But my concern would be what are you going to do about the water table?
Very good, yeah. We've got the beautiful Coconino Aquifer, and we have springs that go all out there. Springs. The water level, folks, as you get out toward it, and there's areas in Springerville and Eager that you have a well at 60 feet. And there's springs. That means the Coconino Aquifer comes up and it's shallow. And picture 4,000 to 5,000, a cancerous tumor in the ground and all that stuff, leaching out the lime and concrete and rusting rebar and all this stuff for ancient. It just blows my mind that they just could. And then if you have a lithium battery fire and say somebody sprays water on it, then all the toxins go right into the water
soil.
Ooh. Yeah. So there's a lot of scary things to consider. And, like you say, I think you bring up an interesting point where all the research that they'll use their immediate, and they use the research that they want to see. But the research that we've gotten from Oklahoma and Texas was pretty horrifying. And those are the little tiny wind turbines, and they're still standing there rotting, and people's property values tanked by 50% out there, but they don't use any of that information.
I think another one you can look at is the folks in California with the Banner grade going into Palm Springs. There's a huge wind farm out there, and it was probably, I would say, 60% are not even used. It makes no sense.
They stand there broken and dead. And the saddest part of all of this, which I've been talking about a lot, and it is so frustrating, is a mini nuclear takes up 5 acres of land, folks, and we're within 10 years of a mini nuclear. We just need a bridge. And the minute a mini nuclear appears, like if it's in St. John's, all of these are obsolete.
Yeah.
But do you know that they put them in, the scam is they can get them in for the $98 billion that's sitting there, and then they don't even ever have to use them. But they won't be removed.
Well, it's as we talked about, my background, actually, my education's in applied and high energy physics. Not so much in radio. That was my college job, was jumping in and out of fire trucks and cop cars and to pay for college. But when we talk small scale nuclear, modern nuclear, it's much cleaner than the stuff that we were dealing with in the 70s. It's much cleaner. It's a lot more efficient. We don't have the pollution issues. When you had a 3-mile melt.
Acres.
Yeah, that's truly clean energy. To me, the efficiency of these things, when I look at them,
they're
inefficient.
Yeah.
They're very, very inefficient. For the cost that it takes to maintain them, the energy output is nowhere near the head banging that you do and the mashing of teeth to get these things put in, to do the construction, to maintain them, and they say, oh, we're going to bring in jobs. Yeah, I see a team of 12. How can that sustain a community?
Yeah,
Don't give me
12.
that.
And most of them are from out of state, those 12. They'll bring their own people in. And it's foreign companies building this so they can strategically bankrupt within a couple of years and run away. And our counties they're not putting anybody on the contracts.
Yeah.
And the energy companies, no one's on the contracts.
Follow
so
the
they
money.
Can exactly.
Just follow the money. And, when I heard about this, 5 years ago, I'm like, it sounds like an NGO grift.
Yes, NGO grift. Very good. Yep. And it's really sad that our two counties have kind of, we have no authority, but 7 other counties put in some protections. 7 other counties did, like Cochise has really nice ones, and they haven't been sued, and they did a really good job. And that's the only thing that the citizens had put in an ordinance, try to push for, that we're try to get going. But there's all sorts of things that are trying to be done, but it's an uphill battle now that these things have kind of run away. And so it's kind of a hard thing now, but it's something to think about. Anything else you want to add as far as your concerns about our communication here on the mountain with all these wind turbines?
I think it's, as far as cellular phones, microwave communications, I think that's something to look at. But I think doing a comprehensive baseline study that needs to be done, again, coming from the, not from the point of not being against it or for it, but as truly is an engineer, let's look at this and let's do a true baseline, unbiased study. Not a study that came from, hey, look, Fountain Wind Project company. Oh, they paid for this. Just like I go back to that company, begins with an M and ends with an A, and says, we don't want to do. Let's do it. Let's really do it. I would like to see this. I would like to see, prove me wrong.
Yeah, it's like
I would like to
companies.
be, I would like to see, and I believe that we always learn something, and I think a good baseline, non-biased study, even if the citizenry has to chip in for this, let's actually see what this does. But the science is that we do know for a fact that digital television signals are affected. The new digital television signals. So if you are casting a DTV signal across the wind project, it will significantly hamper reception.
Ooh, that's not good.
So, but here's the other thing though. Realistically, who's watching over-the-air TV? People are watching stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
And
so satellite, like if you have Starlink, you'll be okay, right?
Yeah, Starlink's not going to be affected.
Yeah.
Some people say, well, potential impact depends upon, a arc of 65 miles encompasses a station, could have, and they even stated here in their report, could have impacts. And this is satellite and Earth stations. And their study radius is out to 65 miles for this one. AM broadcast facilities, definitely in the near field, up to about 2 miles or so, that would be affected.
And
TV broadcast facilities will be affected.
And we only have a 720-foot setback that we've been given by our Board of Supervisors, 720 feet from the wind turbines. So that could affect a lot of people's signals. That's definitely near field, right? 720 feet?
Yes. Oh, well, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's very much. Microwave and cellular, we have a thing in there. We use a term called the Fresnel zones. And the Fresnel zone, think about it as an oblong, like a football that's in 3 dimension and from transmit to receive. That will be definitely affected by this. If anyone's path goes through a wind farm, you're going to lose your data connection. You're going to lose your path. So that needs to be, that needs to be considered. But again, let's do a true baseline study. Just really, let's if they say, well, no.
Here's the big thing: do the big NGOs or our county, do they care? It's kind of like, are they just going to put them all in? People will lose their, say, sorry, that's just, you're going to have to look at this and look at that and just give people to run around, and then they'll move away.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen in some areas. People just have to move away.
I've got friends that say that out there, be out by Sierra Montosa, they put them in, she's going to move.
Yeah.
Just because of effects and noise and the whoosh whoosh and
the red light blinking all night. Yeah. That's what we're seeing, is that a lot of places are like ghost towns that they just put antennas in. The people I've heard people say, oh, they'll eventually move off. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice thought.
I believe that, again, I'm going back. Let's do a study. Let's really let's do a fair study. Not, hey, we paid for this engineering company to come in. They write the report as they see to their favor. No, let's actually do this. Prove me wrong on these things. Does a wind farm actually produce time delay interference for digital public safety radios? Prove me wrong. I will accept it. If I'm wrong, hey, I'll go online. But I've been at this game too long. I've been up here. Came over from Yuma and been up here 17 years, and I love this county. I really, really want to see the right thing done, and I think we can do a lot better. And these big obelisks, and just I don't think they're it.
Oh, guys, that was awesome. Engineer Matt, let's just do a study. Let's
just do a study.
Yeah.
It's easy. I mean, have a good, even maybe
That's
two.
not too much to ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Engineer Matt, we so appreciate you. Good stuff. I really like that. And we haven't heard from this aspect of it, so that's good. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Come in anytime. Tell me
Be
what's
glad.
in my radio station.
All right.
Okay. All right, Engineer Matt talking about the wind turbines and the possible effects and how we need to do a study. Everyone, keep it right here. iTalk 106.7 FM, the voice of the mountain.